Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. Yes, I am back. Sorry for I took a couple days off, but we are back with a brand new Deku What If. This is actually something I did a long time ago, and this is now going to be kind of a remake, but also just like a full-on kind of just a different outlook on the whole What If entirely. And this is what if Deku had a Phoenix quirk, something I did a long time ago, something that I wanted to do again, and something I will be doing again right now. So if you enjoy, please show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. All of it is appreciated. I appreciate all the love and support. And yeah, that's all I got to say, really. And I don't want to waste much more of your time. I want to get right into the what if. So let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is born into a world full of quirks, full of superpowers, and full of people that range from extremely powerful to absolutely useless. This is the world he lives in, and the harsh reality is that many people in this world will not be who they want to be. A lot of people in this world will not be able to have the power that they so seek after, and a lot of these people in this world will not be able to be heroes and will not be able to be the people they truly want to be. But Izuku Midoriya, well, he falls under the same category of not being able to strive for the power and the heroic measures that he wants so badly. And the reason for this, more specifically, is the fact that the young boy is quirkless. Yes, Izuku Midoriya is quirkless, and he's unable to actually do anything other than hope somehow he can gain powers, but it seems as if his life continues to trickle down and get worse and worse at a young age, when he continuously gets bullied by so many different kids, but one kid more specifically by the name of Bakugo. Bakugo continues to mess with him, continues to make fun of him, and continues to kind of make it seem as if he's absolutely useless. Tell him that he's absolutely useless. And on top of that, he continues to tell Izuku that he is just a Deku that is basically not worth anyone's time, and a Deku that should just throw it all away, that nothing he does even matters. But one day, when Izuku is around 12 or 13 years old, Izuku would feel that he would have a chance, that he could do it, that he could become a hero, that he's gonna try no matter what. And yes, he did think about this a little late, because he doesn't really have much training under his belt and doesn't really have much time under his belt, at least working hard. But still, he has some information, he has some studying that he's done on heroes, and he's gonna give it his all no matter what. And as a couple more years would go by, Izuku would find himself awaiting that amazing and that crucial moment that would allow him to become a hero. Because that crucial moment would come, and it would be something that he wouldn't even imagine. Because one day he would be at school, and after hearing his basically classmates laugh at him for saying that he wants to get into UA high school, and after basically having everybody basically bully him, he decides that he's gonna take a bit of a walk. He takes a walk, walking upstairs, and he continues to walk until he's at the rooftop. As he's at the rooftop, he would sit down, and he would just sit there, just not moving, just relaxing, thinking, and doing just nothing. He's just kind of thinking about his life, thinking about if he'll actually be able to do these things. And as he's sitting here thinking about these things, he would hear someone approach, and he would turn around. And as he turns around, he sees that it's Bakugo himself. Bakugo would tell him that he might as well just jump off this roof right now, that there's nothing he'll be able to do. In which Izuku just scoffs at this and then kind of gets off the ledge, and he begins to walk back toward the door, telling Bakugo he had no intention of jumping off the roof. He was sitting here just clearing his head. But now that someone else is here, well, he's just gonna head out because he doesn't want to hear his BS. in which Izuku would try to leave, but Bakugo would stop him, shooting an explosion at the back of Izuku, and Izuku would crumble toward the ground. Bakugo would then punch him in the face and would then drag him toward the edge of the roof. Bakugo would blast him with another explosion and tell him that he's never going to talk to him like that ever, and he better watch his damn mouth. In which Izuku would slowly but surely stand up and have burn marks on him, and he would tell Bakugo that he is so far from being a hero, that he's never going to be the hero he wants to be, that he's never going to be a hero like All Might. He's never going to be anything, especially because he's more villain than he is hero. In which Izuku tries to walk away, but Bakugo, out of rage, would shoot another explosion. But as he does, Izuku would try to dodge it, and as he does dodge it, the explosion would send rubble toward him, actually hitting him back toward the ledge. As he's hit back toward the ledge, Bakugo can see that he's about to fall off, and he tries to actually save him. But as he goes to grab for Izuku and tries to shoot an explosion that allows him to kind of stabilize him from falling, it actually doesn't work. It actually scorches Izuku once again, and scorches him to the point where Izuku actually continues to fall off, but he continues to fall off lit on fire. As he's lit on fire and he's falling through the sky, it seems like the flames and the explosions that caught him even more on his clothing continues to engulf him as he falls from a couple stories high. And as he falls and as he's crashing down to the ground, he would land, and as he would land, there would be nothing left. Of course, Bakugo would look over the edge and think, what did he do? He's such an idiot. Why did he do that? He was just angry that Izuku responded in that way and blah blah blah. And as he looks, he can see that Izuku is gone. All he is ash. It's only ashes. And Izuku was completely dead. What happened to him? What's going to happen to him? Bakugo would look over the edge and then get down as quick as possible, walking over toward the ashes of Izuku, and he would look at them, thinking that he just killed him, that he just ended Izuku's life, that's what he did. He can't believe it. But as he's saying these things, as he's thinking about these things, a large sun rays, a beam of light would strike right down on the ashes of Izuku, but in turn, Bakugo standing near it would actually get burned slightly on his arm. He would avoid the sun rays, but the light would be so freaking bright that he wouldn't be able to even look at what's happening, as the sun rays would engulf the area for the most part, expanding from 2 to 3 feet, like 3 by 3 feet, to even larger. We're talking massive amounts of yardage. We're talking 10 to 15 to 20 yards by 20 yards, where it's engulfing a large area. And as this sun rays would then peter out, there would be someone there standing in a gulf of light, in completely scorched clothing, actually to the point where he really doesn't have much clothing on at all because it's all engulfed in flames, but so is his body for the most part. And as the flames would kind of subside slowly but surely, it seems like they would channel toward the back, or his own back, and it would create these wings. And as it creates these wings, it would be shown like the wings are fiery, as if they're glowing from the flames themselves, and it seems as if the sun rays have been channeled through his wings. And Izuku would look around, and then his body would react on its own, and he would begin flying away, flying off to his home. And as he would land on the ground, and as he would stumble through the door, the wings would dissipate, entering his body once again, and he would call out to his mother, Inko Midoriya, for help. And she would see that her kid is on the ground and out cold entirely. Inko would help him, bring him to the hospital, do whatever she has to do. And, well, the doctors themselves say that his vitals are completely stable, that everything is completely fine, and he should wake up in maybe a day or two. But it's kind of an anomaly. They're not sure what happened to Izuku, and frankly, no one has seen anything. But that's the thing. Only one person saw all of this happen. only one person noticed what happened in a matter of, well, we're talking a couple minutes. All this happened in only a couple minutes, and, well, let's just say Izuku has now awakened something that he never knew he could, and Bakugo was the catalyst for it. But in Bakugo's eyes, he just basically killed somebody. He basically just killed Izuku. And all he can think about is that he's going to have to make amends and cope with the fact that he is so much less than a hero. And that everything Izuku said, well, he was right. Everything Izuku said, he was correct. That he was wrong. And that, frankly, he is not a hero. And that he shouldn't be one. But he's going to try his absolute best to become a hero and help those in need. And help, as much as possible, especially dealing with how he handled Izuku and what he did to Izuku. Now, of course, Izuku doesn't want anything to do with him, and he won't be around Izuku for a very long time. At least until the UA entrance exam, because when Izuku awakens, he awakens to basically doctors, testing, and stuff like that, and they actually realize that he does have some sort of a quirk, but his quirk is not being registered. It's as if his quirk isn't supposed to exist. But what really happened is that when he crashed and burned onto that ground, well, he was then bonded through death itself with something known as a phoenix. And it seems like this phoenix has bonded to Izuku of his lack of powers and lack of quirk in this world, and through death itself, he was able to bond with it and gain powers beyond his possible imagination. Izuku has gained powers that he doesn't even know how to control just yet, and powers that he'll have to learn how to control sooner rather than later. But after some time in the hospital and then eventually being released, he would have basically a long conversation with his mother about what he should do, and more specifically, if he should still become, well, a hero. And Izuku undoubtedly wants to become a hero and tells his mother that he will do this, that he will make sure to become the hero that everybody can be proud of, and make sure that he could be a hero just like All Might, if not even better. Well, those are obviously his aspirations, and if they're a little bit over exaggerated, well, that's just what a kid will do. Izuku Midoriya has exaggerated and has, well, aspirations that are probably beyond his even control, but he now has a quirk and has powers that could put him in a potential situation that he can actually be extremely powerful. He begins to train over the next 10 months, trying to learn more about these powers and trying to gain more of a control on all of them. What's going on with his powers more specifically is that he is somehow able to actually utilize fire. But it's more than just that as well. He somehow can morph his body into the same characteristics of a phoenix, donning wings as well. These wings being engulfed in flames as well. And it seems like the idea of him utilizing the powers of a phoenix is more or less how he's able to do the things he does. Now, training with these powers is kind of awkward, you could say, right? It's a little bit awkward. Training with the powers of a phoenix is massively regarded as utilizing the power of fire itself, but the fire he uses is at a completely different level. We're talking the fire he uses is almost uncontrollable to a large extent. Now, at least for the moment, he has to really tone down the usage of fire he actually outputs, because he doesn't want to absolutely incinerate things that he doesn't want to incinerate. But on top of the ability to control fire, he also has insane amounts of speed now. And it's not even just with his wings and his flight. He's able to absolutely go at insane speeds. Speeds that many would look at and think that they can't even see him while he's moving. But still, he has powers that are massively unknown to him and powers that he's going to have to understand in due time. But as the 10 months would subside and would finish up, it is now time for him to actually take on his next challenge, which would be the entrance exams. The entrance exams is something that he's extremely excited about going into, because the entrance exams are going to be his chance at actually being a hero. Because these UA entrance exams are, for the most part, his entrance into UA and where he's going to be in terms of the hierarchy of UA high school. But it all starts with the entrance exam. The entrance exam is going to be filled with robots, but also with written portions of that said exam. And the written portion part, well, there's difficulties there, and there's some, pushback for Izuku, but for the most part, he's pretty good at testing and stuff like that, so he's able to get by that. Now, the robot portion of the exam is explained by President Mike, and President Mike basically explains that there are 1-pointers, there are 2-pointers, 3-pointers, and so on, but the main thing to avoid is the 0-point robot. And he makes it seem like the 0-point robot not only is worth absolutely nothing and you should just stay away from it entirely, but he also makes it sound like it's a pretty damn intimidating thing. Now, a lot of people don't really understand the whole idea of the 0-point robot, but soon they would, because the 0-point robot is a giant robot that is borderline unavoidable if you're in the wrong position. But with that said, they do enter the UA entrance exam, and they enter the practical portion of it, which isn't the most practical thing in the world, but is still known as the practical portion. And he begins his kind of assault on defeating as many robots as possible. Izuku flies around using his flames, obliterating and melting basically every robot he possibly sees. But he also uses his actually unworldly strength now to fly through robots as well, to limit the usage of his fire. He knows he doesn't want to burn down anything too insane. Of course, he doesn't want to burn down buildings on accident, so he holds back to a massive degree, burning through a lot of these things, and eventually it is all said and done for Izuku, and he feels that he has definitely destroyed a good amount of robots. After destroying those said robots, the 0-point robot that everybody has been talking about finally shows up. But this 0-point robot is insane, because it's massive, towering over even buildings itself. Now, with the 0-point robot walking forward, Izuku just decides to move out of the way. But here's the thing. His hero instincts would kick in, especially when he sees a girl that is stuck under rubble. This girl is named Ochaku Uraraka, and she is stuck under rubble, unable to utilize her quirk or even push the rubble off of her. So he dives down while flying and was able to remove the rubble for the most part and pick her up and fly away. He would avoid the 0-point robot for the most part, but there's something inside him that craves this kind of testing of his powers. He hasn't truly tried out what he's capable of, and he looks at the 0-point robot thinking, this is a perfect chance to just let it all go, to just obliterate this robot to his fullest extent. So that's exactly what he decides to do. He flies over right in front of the 0-point robot, and as the 0-point robot would try to hit Izuku, he would dodge by flying underneath its arm, and he would place 2 hands on the robot. As he does, the metal begins to melt, and it begins to heat up like crazy, and as the 0-point robot goes to take another step, it would melt directly into the ground. Izuku limiting the fire that he's actually outputting, but he's really just outputting heat entirely to the robot's entire kind of body and structure. This would literally lead to the robot melting and crumbling to actual pieces, to the point where the robot is in complete liquid form and creates this giant puddle of some sorts that is laying complete and utter waste on the ground. And everybody is watching and they are in shock. This kid, he has some insane powers, but it says on record that his quirk just awakened a year ago, that he was a late bloomer, that someone and something awakened his quirk, and nobody has any information on it outside of that. Even the quirk info tab is empty. The quirk info is completely empty, and all they know is that he has some sort of heat-based quirk. That's literally it. They haven't been able to do tests. They really didn't know what he was capable of doing off start from any test that they ran. And at the end of the day, it's not like they had time to really figure that all out. I mean, he is of age in terms of going into the hero or the kind of non-hero side of work, so they didn't really put a ton of effort into analyzing something that could take years to analyze. And Izuku is just showing off abilities that are comparable to some other quirks that people have seen. Comparable to quirks like your fire-based quirks, like your endeavor-based quirks, and these quirks are insane. And seeing somebody like Izuku be able to utilize these things is something that is not to be overlooked. And trust me, everybody in UA is not overlooking them. After all that is said and done, some time would pass, and well, it'd be a good bit of time. He would finally get his invitation to actually going to UA. He would finally be allowed and accepted into UA High School in Class 1A. Now, as a kind of as a number or benchmark, he actually doesn't get the highest grade. The reason for this is when he saves Ochako, he does get a good grade for that, but he doesn't actually get a ton of points for it. He literally just swooped in, grabbed her, and saved her. That was really it. It's not like he defended her from the giant robot in that foul swoop. When he destroyed the 0-point robot, it was out of, let's be honest, selfish testing. So he kind of should have and could have avoided that entirely and made sure everyone got out, and he probably would have scored insanely. But he still scored very high, putting him in the top 3 among everybody who competed. And he also didn't go massively overboard with destroying robots because he wanted other people to also get a chance, but of course the testing and the evaluations don't necessarily know that. Now, with that said, we do have Bakugo as your number 1 student still, and let's just say Bakugo would be surprised when he would walk in to see Izuku Midoriya sitting there in front of everybody. He's in shock, and Izuku's even in shock looking at Bakugo, thinking that this is the same guy that basically killed him. And Izuku has to really make amends with himself and really put his mind at ease because Bakugo is literally the person that almost tried to kill him. Now, yes, he is the catalyst to making him awaken this amazing quirk that he's been seeking after for so long, but it doesn't change the fact that Bakugo killed him. That's what he did. In which Izuku looks at Bakugo, and Bakugo looks, well, for one, shocked, but looks kind of like he feels bad for Izuku. Like he feels like he really did something wrong, and which of course he has, but he doesn't get the chance to really speak with Izuku at all before Aizawa would walk in. Aizawa would say that normally you have to do your orientation and, you know, we're going to talk about you, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't like any of that. That's all extremely stupid. And he's going to say that he wants to test these people. He wants to test everybody. And that's exactly what they're going to do. He wants to test every last one of their quirks, and that's going to be a perfect thing to do for everyone to go outside and meet him at kind of like this area that they can work at. He moves everybody outside, and it's now time for them to start working on kind of what their quirks are capable of in a kind of normal situations. Now this would start with a ball throw, which Bakugo would portray this ball throw, throwing it pretty damn far. But Izuku would be about 3rd or 4th. But during this time, everybody is saying like, oh, this is going to be so fun and awesome. But Izuku, well, he's just dormant. He's not even thinking about it being fun or whatever. He's locked in because he doesn't even want to think about the fact that he has to stand beside somebody like Bakugo, who is the furthest thing in his mind from a hero. And he kind of sits there waiting for his turn. And when it's his turn to actually throw the ball, he launches it, and he could feel something different. He puts fire on the ball, and it begins to launch out of his hand like a freaking cannon, and it just launches as far as you could possibly imagine. Now, it doesn't go into space, but it launches pretty damn far, and he basically is able to do that, And everybody's in shock, thinking that, wow, maybe this guy has some insane powers, even more than anybody has thought in the first place. And frankly, that's the truth. Izuku has powers within himself that he doesn't even know exist just yet. But still, he has powers that are beyond what they could possibly imagine, and many people could possibly imagine. But his use of pyrokinesis, or his use of manipulation of fire, is basically allowing him to shoot the baseball like a cannonball out of his hand, in which was a perfect demonstration. And this demonstration would continue for Izuku, because he would be in a physical state that is so much faster and stronger than most of the people there, and he's able to show these things off in kind of a race, in sidesteps, in grip strength, and in power, and so on. And he gets flying colors of score. He passes the scores with flying colors, and he shows what he's truly capable of. And he shows everybody, even to a limit that he didn't even really know he was capable of. Seeing Bakugo really has not only brought back bad memories, but has brought back his passion to push forward even harder, to make sure that he is shown as a absolute joke of a hero, that he's going to be so much better than Bakugo, so much greater, that he's going to have to basically forgive Bakugo for being such a horrible hero in the near future, because Izuku has a massive grudge against him, even if it is true that he awakened his powers because of Bakugo to a certain extent, or to a large extent, really. Now, this would lead to Aizawa saying that nobody's getting expelled and blah 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 and whatever, but he also does take aside Izuku and talks to him after class, and he speaks with him saying that he needs to make sure he's being careful with the way he utilizes his powers. He hears that he just awakened them not too long ago, so we don't really know what his powers are going to do to his body, what it's going to do, and what it's going to, like, if it's going to hurt him massively. Nobody knows for sure. In which Izuku nods his head, and Aizawa says that he's just looking out for the kid, and he understands that he's pushed himself to the point where it seems as if his own body has awakened a quirk out of sheer persistence, and he commends him for that, commends him massively. But he wants to see him go through this process of being a hero for the long haul, not just peter out like a lot of students will do. In which Izuku nods his head and confirms with Aizawa that he will give it his best and make sure to not take this lightly by any means. And Aizawa nods and thinks that this kid has massive potential. Now, after all this is said and done, everybody goes home and so on. Their next portion of fighting and their next portion of training would be with the #1 hero, All Might. Yes, with All Might himself. And Izuku is fanboying when he comes into the room, thinking that this is his chance to show what he's capable of in front of All Might. This is his chance of showing All Might and everybody else what kind of level he's at, and that he is at an insane level to the point where he could literally be a hero right now if he so chose to do so, or if they so allowed it. But of course, it's never that simple. And he knows that it takes a lot of control and it takes a lot of patience to be the hero he wants to be. But he's excited to hear that All Might's actually setting up a training session where it's going to be heroes versus villains. Heroes versus villains, where the villains will actually have to defend a bomb. This bomb, if touched by the heroes, will be then confirmed win for the heroes as long as it's under 5 minutes. And on top of this, if the heroes capture the villains, then that also leads them to basically winning on a large degree. And on top of that, the villains, if they capture both the heroes even before the 5 minutes are up, then obviously the villains would then win. Now, this first test is something that excites Izuku extremely, and he actually is teamed up with the same girl that he actually saved not too long ago. But the people he's going against, the villains in this scenario, are Tenya Ida, a speedster that seems to be a little bit uptight and nerdy, but a cool guy, at least that's what Izuku thinks. But also one other person, Katsuki Bakugo, and his chance to show Bakugo what he has created and what he truly is about to happen. Izuku Midoriya is about to take on Bakugo and Tanya Ida with Ochaku Uraraka by his side, but he has a choice to make. Does he follow down the path of being angry and being annoyed and frustrated with Bakugo and take him on and show him how much better of a fighter, how much better his powers are than Bakugo himself? Or does he take the easy way and the nice way out and the heroic way out and focus on the task at hand? Well, you're going to have to find out in the second part of What If Deku Had a Phoenix Quirk. And if you enjoyed, make sure to show some love to the video. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. Sorry if the video came out a little bit late. I actually was dealing a little bit with throat pain. I was getting a sore throat for a little bit. I did like 15 minutes of the video, and then I was like, whoa, like my throat hurts really bad. So I had to like drink a bunch of water, and then now I'm good. I just had to finish up the video. But yeah, that's why it actually is gonna come out a little bit later than normal. Normally I try to post it at 12 p.m. Pacific time, but it's a little bit later. Nonetheless, though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoy whatever's to come next. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.